Before you take your next eye vitamin, I need you to freeze for just 30 seconds. If you're over 65 and you've been told you have macular degeneration, and you're taking an eye supplement to slow down vision loss, there's a very real chance you could be swallowing a pill that's clinically proven to increase your risk of lung cancer. I'm Julian Porter, Senior Health Expert, and over the past decade, I've reviewed thousands of supplement labels sent to me by viewers. What I found is shocking. Nearly 40% of eye vitamins sold in major pharmacies still contain a compound called Beta-Carotene, which the National Eye Institute pulled from their updated formula, specifically because it raised lung cancer rates in people who smoke or used to smoke. If you've ever smoked, even if you quit 20 years ago, and your eye supplement says AREDS without the number 2, or lists 15 milligrams of beta-carotene on the back, you need to stop taking it today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 critical checkpoints. Number 1 is the cancer warning you must know. Number 2 is the upgraded formula that actually protects your macula without the risk. And number 3, the one most people get wrong, is the absorption secret. Even if you buy the safest, most expensive bottle, if you take it the wrong way, your body will flush 100% of it down the toilet. Before we begin, drop a quick comment below with your age and tell me, are you currently taking any eye supplement for macular degeneration? To get these nutrients into your system, they must be taken with a meal containing healthy fats. Without fat, these supplements are literally wasted. Your vision is too precious to risk on the wrong formula. Check your label right now and let's discuss your eye health journey in the comments below. Comment the name of your vitamin below to check if it has the updated AREDS 2 label. This is about informed choice. Across the United States, roughly 30% of adults over the age of 80 are living with some form of age-related macular degeneration, according to data published by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation in partnership with the Centers for Disease Control. That's 3 out of every 10 seniors. Even more alarming, the rate of late-stage AMD, which destroys central vision permanently, jumps to 10% after age 80. We're talking about millions of people facing blindness. So when the National Eye Institute released the results of the original AREDS trial, it felt like a miracle. They had created a nutrient cocktail that reduced the risk of progression to advanced AMD by 25%. Take control of your eye health today. Ensure your vitamins are AREDS 2 certified for the best protection. Patients and doctors celebrated this exciting new discovery in health science. Supplement companies flooded the market, but buried in that formula was a time bomb: 15 milligrams of beta-carotene. Now, let me be clear about what beta-carotene is. It's a precursor to vitamin A found naturally in orange and yellow vegetables. In theory, it made sense to include it. The retina needs vitamin A to function. But here's where the science took a dark turn. Multiple large-scale studies, including the alpha-tocopherol, beta-carotene cancer prevention study, and the beta-carotene and retinol efficacy trial, tracked tens of thousands of smokers and former smokers. What they found was chilling. High-dose beta-carotene supplementation increased lung cancer incidence by as much as 18 to 28% in people with smoking history. The mechanism isn't fully understood, but the leading hypothesis is that beta-carotene behaves paradoxically. Instead of acting as an antioxidant, it becomes pro-oxidant, accelerating DNA damage in lung tissue. When the National Eye Institute saw this data, they didn't just issue a warning. They shut down the beta-carotene arm of the study and went back to the lab. The result was AREDS 2. They completely removed beta-carotene and replaced it with 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin. These 2 carotenoids are chemically different. They don't carry the cancer risk. In fact, they're the exact pigments that naturally concentrate in the macula, the tiny yellow spot at the center of your retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision. Think of lutein and zeaxanthin as internal sunglasses, embedded right into your eyeball. They filter out harmful blue light from screens and LED bulbs, and they neutralize reactive oxygen species before those molecular grenades can punch holes in your photoreceptor cells. Here's the kicker. Your body cannot synthesize lutein or zeaxanthin. You must get them from food or supplements, and patients with macular degeneration are running on empty. Their macula is starving for these pigments. That's why the AREDS 2 formula works. It floods the retina with exactly what it's missing, without the lung cancer trade-off. But here's where most people fail. They go to the pharmacy, they see a bottle that says eye health or vision support. They assume it's safe, and they never flip it over to read the fine print. Let me walk you through the label audit you need to do right now, today, before you take another pill. Checkpoint 1. The label audit. The cancer warning you must know. Go to your medicine cabinet. Take out your eye supplement bottle. Flip it over and look at the supplement facts panel. You're searching for two things. First, does it say AREDS or AREDS 2? If it just says AREDS, or if it says nothing at all and just lists a random blend of vitamins, that's a red flag. Second, scan the ingredient list. If you see the word beta-carotene, and especially if it lists 15 milligrams, you need to ask yourself one question. Have I ever smoked cigarettes even if I quit decades ago? If the answer is yes, that bottle needs to go in the trash. I'm not exaggerating. The clinical evidence is unambiguous. The alpha-tocopherol, beta-carotene cancer prevention study followed 29,000 male smokers in Finland for 6 years. Those taking 20 milligrams of beta-carotene daily had an 18% higher incidence of lung cancer compared to placebo. The clinical evidence is clear. When it comes to your health, check the label and know the risks. The beta-carotene and retinol efficacy trial in the United States was actually stopped early because the Data Safety Monitoring Board saw the lung cancer signal and deemed it unethical to continue. We're talking about studies involving tens of thousands of people, tracked for years, published in the most prestigious medical journals in the world. Now you might be thinking, but I quit smoking 30 years ago. Doesn't that mean I'm safe? Unfortunately, no. The oxidative damage and cellular changes caused by smoking can persist for decades. Your lung tissue may have healed in many ways, but it still carries a higher baseline vulnerability to pro-oxidant stress. High-dose beta-carotene in that environment is like handing gasoline to a smoldering ember. You might not see the flames today, but you're raising the odds of combustion. So here's your action step for checkpoint 1. If your bottle contains beta-carotene and you have any smoking history, throw it away today. Don't finish the bottle. Don't try to use it up. The few dollars you'll save are not worth the risk. If you've never smoked and have no lung issues, beta-carotene is likely safe for you, but there's still no reason to take it when there's a superior, safer alternative available. That alternative is AREDS 2. The AREDS 2 formula is the gold standard for macular degeneration support, and it's built on rock-solid science. Let me give you the exact numbers, because precision matters when you're trying to slow down a disease that can steal your ability to read, drive, or recognize faces. The AREDS 2 formulation contains 5 key ingredients: 10 milligrams of lutein, 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin, 500 milligrams of vitamin C, 400 international units of vitamin E, and either 80 milligrams of zinc as zinc oxide, or 25 milligrams if you choose the lower zinc version, which some people tolerate better. Copper is included at 2 milligrams to prevent zinc-induced copper deficiency. That's the formula. No beta-carotene, no vitamin A palmitate, no retinol. Now let's talk about why lutein and zeaxanthin are the stars of this formula. These two carotenoids are the only ones that selectively accumulate in the macula. They're called macular pigments for a reason. When you consume them, they hitch a ride through your bloodstream, cross the blood-retinal barrier, and embed themselves directly into the layers of your retina. Once there, they perform two jobs. Job 1, they absorb blue light. Blue light, especially the high-energy visible light emitted by smartphones, tablets, and LED lighting, penetrates deep into the eye and generates reactive oxygen species. Lutein and zeaxanthin act like a filter, absorbing that blue light before it reaches the vulnerable photoreceptor cells underneath. Think of them as internal polarized sunglasses that you can't take off. Job 2. They quench free radicals. The retina has the highest metabolic rate of almost any tissue in your body. It's constantly burning oxygen to convert light into electrical signals. That process generates reactive oxygen species as a byproduct. If those ROS aren't neutralized, they start punching holes in cell membranes, damaging mitochondria, and triggering inflammation. Lutein and Zeaxanthin are sacrificial molecules. They donate electrons to neutralize the free radicals, protecting the cell at the cost of their own degradation. That's why you need a constant supply. You're not storing them long term. You're using them up every single day. The clinical proof for AREDS 2 is irrefutable. The original AREDS 2 trial enrolled over 4,000 participants with intermediate or advanced macular degeneration in one eye. They were followed for 5 years. The participants who took the lutein and zeaxanthin formula without beta-carotene had the same 25% reduction in risk of progression to advanced AMD as the original AREDS formula, but without any increase in lung cancer risk. In fact, secondary analyses showed that people with low dietary intake of lutein and zeaxanthin at baseline benefited even more, with risk reductions approaching 30%. Let me introduce you to a real-world case. Harold Vance, 72 years old, from Asheville, North Carolina, was diagnosed with dry AMD 3 years ago. His optometrist detected drusen, those yellow deposits under the retina that are the hallmark of early disease. Harold went to his local pharmacy and bought a bottle labeled Eye Health Formula. He took it religiously every morning with a glass of water. A year later, his drusen had progressed, and his visual acuity had dropped. When he came to a functional medicine consult that I reviewed, we pulled out his supplement bottle. It was the old AREDS formula with 15 milligrams of beta-carotene. Harold had smoked a pack a day in his 30s and 40s. He quit at 50, but that 20-year smoking history put him in the high-risk category. We immediately switched him to a verified AREDS 2 formula, 10 milligrams lutein, 2 milligrams zeaxanthin, no beta-carotene. But we also fixed his second mistake, which I'll get to in checkpoint 3. Within 6 months, his macular pigment optical density, measured by a specialized device called a quantify, increased by 18%. With the right formula and specialized care, his drusen stabilized. He didn't reverse his AMD because that's not realistic, but he stopped the bleeding. Here's your action step for checkpoint 2. Go online or go to your pharmacy and look for a supplement that explicitly says AREDS 2 formula on the label. Verify that it contains 10 milligrams of lutein and 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin. Avoid any product that lists beta-carotene, vitamin A palmitate, or retinol if you have any smoking history. Reputable brands include Preservision, AREDS 2, Bausch & Lomb, and several store-brand generics that use the identical formulation. You don't need to overpay for a fancy label. You just need the right ingredients at the right dose. Checkpoint 3. The absorption secret. The mistake that flushes your money down the toilet. This is the checkpoint that 90% of people fail, and it's the one that makes me the most frustrated, because it's so easy to fix. Lutein, zeaxanthin, and vitamin E are fat-soluble nutrients. That means they do not dissolve in water, they dissolve in fat. If you take your AREDS 2 supplement with a glass of water on an empty stomach, your body will absorb almost none of it. The pills will pass through your stomach, move into your small intestine, and because there's no dietary fat present, to emulsify and transport the carotenoids across the intestinal wall, they'll be excreted whole in your stool. You are literally flushing $10 to $30 a month down the toilet. Let me explain the science of bioavailability. When you eat fat, your gallbladder releases bile acids into your small intestine. Bile acids are detergent-like molecules that break fat into tiny droplets, a process called emulsification. Those droplets mix with the fat-soluble vitamins and carotenoids from your supplement. Specialized proteins in the intestinal lining, called SRB1 receptors and NPC1L1 transporters, Grab those emulsified nutrients and shuttle them into your intestinal cells. From there, they're packaged into chylomicrons, which are fat-carrying particles that enter your lymphatic system and eventually your bloodstream. Without fat in the meal, this entire process collapses. Multiple studies have confirmed this. One study published in the Journal of Nutrition gave participants lutein supplements either with a fat-free meal or with a meal containing fat. The group that took lutein with fat had plasma lutein levels 5 times higher than the group that took it without fat. 5 times, that's not a small difference. That's the difference between the supplement working and the supplement doing absolutely nothing. Here's the analogy I want you to lock into your mind. Imagine lutein is a crate of precious medical cargo that needs to be delivered to your retina. Dietary fat is the armored truck that carries that cargo through the dangerous terrain of your digestive system. If you swallow the lutein capsule with only water, you're dropping that crate on the side of the road with no vehicle to transport it. The cargo just sits there, gets rained on, and eventually gets swept away by the street cleaners, which in this case is your colon. The fat is the truck, no delivery. It's that simple. So what does this look like in practice? You need to take your AREDS 2 supplement during or immediately after a meal that contains at least a small amount of healthy fat. I'm not talking about a greasy fast food burger. I'm talking about whole food fats. Here are some examples. Avocados, nuts, and fatty fish like salmon provide the perfect vehicle for your supplements. A quarter of an avocado provides about 5 grams of fat, and interestingly, avocados themselves contain 81 micrograms of lutein, so you're getting a synergistic boost. A handful of walnuts or almonds gives you around 6 grams of fat. A tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil drizzled on a salad delivers 14 grams. 2 eggs, which are one of the richest food sources of Lutein and Zeaxanthin, provide about 10 grams of fat. Even a small piece of fatty fish like salmon or mackerel works beautifully. Let's go back to Harold. When we audited his routine, he admitted he was taking his eye vitamin first thing in the morning with black coffee and nothing else. He thought he was being disciplined, getting it done early so he wouldn't forget. But he was absorbing maybe 10 to 15% of the active ingredients. And that's why we restructured his complete protocol for optimal health. Every morning, Harold now eats 2 pasture-raised eggs cooked in a teaspoon of butter. Or he has a small bowl of oatmeal topped with a tablespoon of almond butter. He takes his AREDS 2 capsule right after that meal. Within 3 months, his follow-up blood work showed his plasma lutein concentration had more than tripled. His macular pigment density climbed. He wasn't just taking the supplement, he was actually absorbing it. Here's your action step for checkpoint 3. Starting tomorrow, make a rule. Never take your eye supplement on an empty stomach, and never take it with just water. Pair it with breakfast or lunch, and make sure that meal includes at least 1 tablespoon of healthy fat. Write yourself a note and stick it on the supplement bottle if you have to. Take with fat or waste your money. It's that critical. Now let's talk about synergy. One of the most underrated benefits of the AREDS 2 formula is how the ingredients amplify each other. Vitamin C is water-soluble, and it works in the aqueous environments of your eye, like the vitreous humor. Vitamin E is fat-soluble, and it protects the lipid membranes of your retinal cells. When a vitamin E molecule neutralizes a free radical, it becomes oxidized and loses its antioxidant power. But vitamin C can regenerate vitamin E, donating an electron to restore it. This recycling loop means you get more mileage out of every molecule. Zinc plays a different role. It's a cofactor for over 300 enzymes in the body, including several in the retina that are involved in visual signal transduction and the metabolism of vitamin A. Low zinc levels are strongly associated with advanced AMD. That's why AREDS 2 includes 80 milligrams. However, some people experience nausea or stomach upset at that dose, which is why a lower 25 milligram option exists. If you choose the lower dose, make sure you're eating zinc-rich foods like oysters, pumpkin seeds, or grass-fed beef to fill the gap. One more synergy tip. If you're also taking omega-3 fish oil for heart health or inflammation, take it at the same meal as your AREDS 2. The omega-3s provide additional fat to enhance absorption, and they have their own independent benefits for retinal health. DHA, one of the omega-3 fatty acids, is a major structural component of photoreceptor cell membranes. Some studies suggest that high DHA intake is associated with a lower risk of progression to advanced AMD. Your stacking benefits. Before we wrap up, I need to make 3 things absolutely clear, because this is medical information, and your safety is my top priority. First, let's be transparent about the science. Every single study referenced in this video is linked in the description box below. This includes the original AREDS trial, the AREDS 2 trial, the alpha-tocopherol beta-carotene study, and the latest research on lutein bioavailability. I encourage you to click those links and read the abstracts. If you want to go deeper, read the full papers and bring them to your doctor. Have a conversation. This is not fringe science. This is mainstream, peer-reviewed, National Institutes of Health-funded research. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you to verify it yourself through these established scientific channels. Second, the safety warning. If you are taking prescription medications, especially blood thinners, immunosuppressants, or medications for diabetes, you need to talk to your doctor before starting or changing any supplement regimen, including AREDS 2. Stay informed, consult your healthcare provider, and always check the data. All sources are linked below. High-dose vitamin E can interact with blood thinners and increase bleeding risk. Zinc, in doses above 40 milligrams per day, can interfere with copper absorption and potentially affect immune function if taken long-term without copper supplementation, which is why AREDS 2 includes 2 milligrams of copper. If you have a history of hemochromatosis or iron overload, high-dose vitamin C can increase iron absorption, which could be dangerous. These are real, documented interactions. Do not assume that because something is sold over the counter, it's automatically safe for you. Third, the medical disclaimer. I am not your doctor. I am a senior health expert and researcher sharing evidence-based information for educational purposes. Nothing in this video is a diagnosis, treatment, or prescription. I am not telling you to stop taking any medication your doctor has prescribed. That would be reckless and irresponsible. Any change to your health protocol must be supervised by a licensed healthcare provider who knows your full medical history, your lab work, and your current medication list. My goal is to give you the information you need to have an informed conversation with that provider. That's it. If you've made it this far, you now know more about eye supplement safety than most people will ever learn. And that knowledge is power. Science doesn't have an age limit. Your body's ability to heal, to regenerate, to protect itself is extraordinary at any stage of life, as long as you give it the right raw materials and remove the obstacles. The fact that you're watching this video tells me you're not willing to sit back and accept vision loss as inevitable. You're taking control. That deserves respect. Let's do a quick recap of the 3 checkpoints. Checkpoint 1. Audit your supplement label right now. If it says AREDS without the number 2, or if it contains beta-carotene and you have any smoking history, throw it out. The lung cancer risk is real, and it's not worth gambling. Checkpoint 2. Switch to a verified AREDS 2 formula with 10 milligrams of lutein, 2 milligrams of zeaxanthin, and no beta-carotene. This is the formulation backed by the National Eye Institute and proven in clinical trials involving thousands of patients. Checkpoint 3. Never take your supplement on an empty stomach or with just water. Always pair it with a meal containing healthy fats like avocado, nuts, eggs, or olive oil. Without fat, your body cannot absorb these nutrients, and you're wasting every penny. If you found this information valuable, do me a favor. Share this video with someone you care about who's over 60, especially if they have macular degeneration or a family history of it. You could be saving their vision and their lungs. And I have 2 questions for you. First, which of these 3 checkpoints are you going to implement first? Are you going to audit your label, switch to AREDS 2, or fix your absorption strategy? Let me know in the comments. Second, what's the biggest barrier stopping you from making this change? Is it cost, confusion about which brand to buy, or something else? Tell me, because I read every comment, and if there's enough demand, I'll create a follow-up video addressing your specific obstacles. Remember, Margaret's question at the beginning of this video might have saved her life. Your question might save someone else's. Don't hold back. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of those eyes.